louder for everybody here.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Beautiful.
Oh, nice to meet you, Beautiful. Do you want to share a bit about yourself?
Well, I grew up during the time that Simple was going through a lot of stress and trouble, and like we had the Maria Hertog case, we had Chinese against Malays, and then we had the bus things, you know, all the yeah, the bus. So there was a lot of things, and I think deep down, Lee Kuan Yew was good for Singapore.
So those all happened during your childhood?
Of course.
Yeah, so okay, if you were to pick one thing from your childhood that was the most memorable, or it shaped how you are now today, what would it be?
I would think the Maria Hertog. Firstly, because it was quite violent, but then it made me very aware of being Catholic and a Eurasian, and that made me proud of what I was.
So can you share a bit about what it was like? What do you experience back then?
Okay, during the Maria Hertog case, because she was Dutch, I think, brought up by Muslims. So one day when the parents took her back and brought her to church, and they showed in the streets a photograph of her praying in church, and the Muslims got very upset because they brought her up. And that was the start of the racial riots, right? And my grandmother was very good to the Malay neighbors nearby. You know those old-fashioned shop houses with the 5-foot way?
Yeah.
So what happened was, when the riots started and the Malays were attacking Christians, they told her to remove the crucifix from the top of the house, and they sat on her, 5-foot way, they sat there. So when the riots passed, this I actually saw with my own eyes, with their parangs and all that, they just passed us because they saw Malays sitting there. And so that's why I'm not angry at the Malays, because it was Malays also who helped us, Malay Muslims who helped us. So there's always good and bad in all religions.
So growing up in Singapore, especially during that kind of like tumultuous but such an impactful time period, what was one of your favorite memories? It can be anything, like your family, your time in school.
No, as I said, my favorite memory is of the Malay people sitting in the 5-foot way, protecting us from the Malay Muslims. Then you will realize that they are good in every religion and race. So don't judge all Malay Muslims bad,
I think everyone has something special in them.
Yeah.
No matter where they come from.
Yes. And also it made me be proud of the fact that I am a Eurasian. Oh, I shall tell you this great story about Eurasians. When God created humans, He baked them, first time underbaked. Wait, second time overbaked. Third time perfect.
Oh, that's you. That's a nice story. Do you hear it from your parents growing up?
No, I made it up.
So do you tell it over at the EA, the Eurasian Association?
Yeah, I always tell the story.
It's a good story. So you shared with us about your working life, right? You've had many interesting jobs.
Okay, I never really did a 9-to-5 clerical work. I worked in hotels, advertising. Okay, advertising was stressful. Hotels was a lot of fun. Because I worked, I don't know whether you remember the Marco Polo. There was this place called the Club. They always had a girl running it. Guess why?
You were the girl.
You were the girl, you take guys.
You were the pretty lady running around.
No, I wasn't pretty, but I knew how to dress.
Charming.
Thank you.
So how do you come across this job? What's the story of you getting hired?
No, it was advertised in the papers, right? And I was second choice. The first girl that had it, when the boyfriend found out that a lot of guys with money go through the club, he wouldn't let her work. So second choice got it.
So I imagine like you worked at Marco Polo, you worked at advertising, your childhood. You've met a lot of very different people in your life, right?
Oh yes.
So what would you say makes a meaningful conversation with people?
Do not talk down to people. Talk to them. Respect them. whoever you're speaking to, irrespective of their job, show them respect for what they do. If the sweepers don't clean the place is dirty, right? Respect him. They are not invisible, which a lot of people treat them, you know. They are not invisible.
And where did you learn that lesson from?
Parents. Because my parents respected everybody they met, you know. Actually, you can't tell them. The only way they learn is by example, right? You do, your children follow.
Yeah. So on that topic, what do you think is a value that's very important to you and you would like to see more of in Singapore today?
Respect.
Respect.
Irrespective of the person's race or job.
So how would you say, like, as youths or as like Singaporean citizens, how can we put that respect into practice in our daily lives?
I think show by example. If everybody shows respect for everybody else, you know, the children will learn from that.
Yeah.
Because that was where I was brought up. But now I notice the children inclined to be very, I'm entitled. See the face.
But it's understandable, you know. The way we grew up today is very different.
Yeah, it's a different world. We had more fun.
Can you share with us about, you were talking to us about the travels you did in your youth?
Oh yes.
That?
I always, I didn't have much money and I didn't believe in going on a tour. You know, you could join a tour with Singaporeans, all they want to do is go shopping, right? I wanted to see the country, so I go by myself.
And where did you go?
Europe?
Europe. For how long?
From spring to autumn.
What was your favorite part of Europe? Like, which part of Europe do you think is the most worth visiting?
I've never been there, but I would have loved to have gone to Croatia.
Why? Why was Croatia?
I don't know, because Croatia it's beautiful, no? It's like waterfalls, greenery.
You've seen the pictures?
That's what I think, yeah, that's what I think. I may be wrong, but that's the impression I get of Croatia.
Very nice views.
And the things, if you buy souvenirs, it's not made in China, it's actually made in Croatia.
Yeah, that's quite
They're very proud of their culture. So you buy souvenirs, everything made in Croatia, and they're proud to say, we do not have made in China.
Did you travel anywhere else, London?
Malaysia quite a bit, of course. Yeah. Australia a bit, and of course Canada, Vancouver, Alaska.
Oh, Canada, Vancouver, Alaska. What did you do there?
No, I just went for a short while. I had a friend there.
A friend. Oh. So, from all the stories you've told us, you seem very observant. You know, like you pick up on things around you. So, why do you think it's like important to pay attention to the details in life?
It's what important?
Why is it important to pay attention to like the smaller details in life?
Because you learn from everything you see. You know, you'll be surprised at what you can learn from things that people think is nothing, but you can learn. You know. Like one example, once I was at this hawker center, and there's this poor guy, shabbily dressed, and he was taking rice and a lot of food, you know. When the time came to pay, the man told him only $2. See, so a lot of people are helping other people, but nobody knows. If you don't observe, you don't know that these things are happening, you know.
Yeah.
It's not only the big people, oh, I gave $50,000. You know,
Yeah,
even 50 cents can mean a lot to a poor person.
Yeah, those acts are more impactful, really.
Yeah.
I think. So, like, you see all of us today, right? If you could give a piece of advice to young people today in Singapore, what would it be?
Observe. And when I say that, don't observe what everybody sees, look beyond that. And you'll find that a lot of things happen beyond that, you know. Small things that a lot of people don't notice.
How do you think people can be more observant?
That is the thing. At the moment, I look around me and I see nobody having that kind of willingness to observe.
Because they're all stuck together.
They're all. All you have to do, what I normally do, you know, when I walk, I look to left, right, up, down. I've seen hornbills and all that. Yeah, I got photograph. Hornbill. How many people saw that hornbill? A lot of people were passing by and nobody looked up. When there's so much to see, nature is so beautiful.
Then how do you think that young people can be more observant?
This is the thing, how do you get them away from there? You know? Have you ever watched a leaf fall slowly? It doesn't fall like that, you know? Yeah. How many people would observe that?
Yeah, not many today.
So all you do when you walk, just observe. There's a lot of things people don't notice.
Would you say there's like beauty in every?
Yes, especially nature. Nothing is more beautiful than nature.
So what do you like more? Do you like mountains, beaches, waterfalls?
I like beaches, but when I was in Croatia, I loved the fact that they had beautiful waterfalls.
What do you remember about these waterfalls? What sights and sounds?
I don't know, there's this thing, when you see the waterfall, you know the power of the waterfall, but it's at the same time so much beauty in it, you know. And I'm sure the waterfalls give life downstream, right?
Do you think young people should be like more in tune in tune with nature?
Yes,
Because everyone's like stuck to their phones.
yes.
Yeah.
Like way back when, before the handphones and all, people were more aware of nature.
Yeah. How do you think young people can be like more in tune with nature?
That is a big problem.
Yeah.
If I knew the answer, I would be rich.
So in your childhood, did you like have a lot of time in nature? Experience a lot?
We were brought up in kampong, so our life was nature. You know, we used to catch spiders. We knew where the best spiders were. Where's the spider? Fisherman's hut.
Oh,
You know,
fisherman's hut.
because there was some fishermen, and around the area, the spiders were very good at fighting. You know, the fighting spiders.
Oh.
So where's the best spiders? Fisherman's hut.
So where was it that you lived in your youth? Like there was fishermen, there was water.
Yeah, but because when we were young, everything was done manually.
Did
know?
you stay around near the sea?
I lived in Katong,
Oh.
near Katong Convent.
Back then, was it the reclaimed land? or
Before
was
the
it all
before the reclaimed land.
So you guys got to play by the water a lot.
Yeah,
I imagine.
and this story, St. Patrick's School, Katong Convent, Talukdar. Guess what? Which was the most popular bus stop?
St. Patrick's. St. Patrick's.
St. Patrick's, Katong Convent, Talukdar.
Oh, they'll both meet in the middle. Oh, so the Katong Convent students would meet the St. Patrick's student. Oh, I see. You know, they say like a lot of the schools in Singapore now, like for example, there's a bridge connecting.
Yeah, the Bridge of Love.
Yeah, that's what we call it actually. So as a student, did you get up to that? Would you go to the bus stop?
Of course.
Oh.
Part of growing up, right?
Is that why you couldn't tell us about what you did? What was your childhood like, would you say? Was it very different from the childhood of like people like us today?
Yes, very. Because we were more in tune with nature, and everything we did ourselves, you know. Everything was more physical. Nothing was, you know. We interacted with people, we interacted with animals, with the trees, with the grass, you know, walking barefooted.
Would you say you had more independence as a child?
Yes, definitely.
And why is that?
One, I had nothing but brothers, and the brothers taught me a lot of how to defend myself against men and boys. So I was never scared. And when you walk and you're confident, guys sort of, you know, just leave you alone. They sense, you know, who can be victims and who can't.
So your parents let you roam by yourselves freely?
Yes, advice. As long as you don't kill anybody, you're fine.
And you live by that?
Yes. And because my parents used to say, if they brought us up right, we will do right. And they lived, and if they lived right, we will, you know, follow right. Words don't mean a thing, example does.
So do you guys play outside every day? Play in the rain, play in the sun?
Oh yes.
No matter the weather?
Yes. Playing in the rain was the best time. And the only rule we had when we played in the rain, the moment you go home, you take a shower, change into dry clothes. We never got sick, nothing. Doctor, Is there such a thing as doctors?
So did it
The sweet falls down, right? You pick it up, pop, in our mouth. Hello, no money, sweet.
maybe that's why you're so healthy now, Auntie.
Yeah, I'm immune to a lot of germs already.
So, you've told us a lot of your own stories, right? Do you think that like every day in our everyday life, everyone we meet, like on the street, anywhere, do you think they all have their own stories?
Yes, all of them have their own. Some may be interesting, some may not be so interesting, but to the person it may be interesting, but not to us, but to the person. Who are we to judge, right?
So when we're talking to people, what do you think is the most important thing to show like this respect or this kind
No,
of...
when you speak to a person, you speak to a person, don't speak down to the person. You speak to the person.
So do you think the skill you have, like this conversational skill, do you think it came naturally to you?
Yes,
From the moment you were born?
yes, from young.
And it's helped you a lot in your life.
No, yes, it has. It has. That's why sometimes I've done jobs that it was way over my head. But when I go for an interview, I talk them into liking me, and then I had to learn fast on my feet.
But you're still fast. I think you can see how that definitely helped. And your jobs, advertising, you definitely have to be very adaptable.
It was never a typical 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
I enjoyed working life.
And so many young people now, they can't really converse with people because they're kind of scared. So
Yes.
what advice do you have to those young people?
The thing is, stop doing this and talking.
I think when you're hiding behind a screen.
Yeah, you lose that ability to converse. Until you talk one-on-one, then you learn.
So do you think in like this digital age, it's important to like make physical connections
Yes.
and make real life?
Yes.
What would you say is the difference between...
The difference, okay? When I tell a person gives me a hug, I feel the hug. You do it on lots of hugs. Oh, what? I'm looking at the screen. What hugs? That's the difference.
If you were like 20 again, if you're in your 20s again, what was something you would want to relive? Like a memory you want to relive? I'm trying very hard to.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I think I would like doing advertising again.
What skills do you need in advertising actually?
Okay, to work in advertising, you can't live by the clock.
What do you mean by that?
That you can't say, I go to work at 9, I finish at 6. No way. You go according to the deadlines. And I would choose advertising because I thought it was a different job, and the people you meet in advertising are very interesting. They are different, their characters all different.
But you had to interact with all of them, right?
Yeah.
So is that hard for you?
No.
What is one thing you learned from advertising and that you can share to everyone on camera today?
In advertising, be patient. No matter what, be patient. You can't rush things. It has to go to its own space. And if what your decision is right, the result will be right. But your decision can be wrong. Your result will be wrong. There's no guarantees.
Thank you for that. Do you have any keepsakes from your projects? Perhaps.
No, at that time I didn't think of all that.
How about the watch that you're wearing on your wrist?
Oh, this, when I was, my first job, I worked for this company called BPT Silver, and they were the agents for Omega. So I got a 30% discount.
And you wear it to this day?
Yeah.
Do you remember what year you bought it in?
Wait, 45, 50, 60, I think in the 1960s.
Wow.
This is easily 50 years or more, you know.
Vintage.
Yeah, but it's in such good, it's in pristine condition.
And not only that, even the face doesn't look old-fashioned.
Yeah.
One thing about this strap, you see it goes under the, and there's no loops, it goes under the, you know. So when you use it's flat on your wrist.
Yeah. Timeless design. Yeah.
This was way ahead of its time, right?
Yeah.
You have an eye for the finer things
Yes.
in life.
No, the unusual things in life.
Auntie, you mentioned that you love going to the beach.
Yeah.
Right? What about the beach do you like?
I like the fact that when I go to the beach, I feel very relaxed and I find it very soothing. The sound of the waves, and it's always peaceful. Even when the waves are rough, I find there's a sense of peacefulness in that.
Like a good place to
To
get
sit,
away
yeah,
from
yeah,
the noise.
exactly.
That's good.
So do you think this time, like this reflection, quiet time is important for a person?
Yes, very important. The more hectic your life, the more this time of peace you need.
Why do you think it's important?
Because it rejuvenates yourself. You didn't think I knew that word, did you?
No, I knew it. Of course, your vocabulary and your accent is all very polished.
Thank you. She's trying to work for the champagne.
So, from all the stories like we've heard from you today, what's something you hope that like younger people will remember and take away from all your lessons and wisdom that you have to impart?
I think the most important lesson is respect to everybody. And you'll be surprised, you don't know. Every morning I see these people sweeping and I always greet them. One day I came down in the afternoon, they were eating. They actually offered me their food.
Wow. So it's these small acts.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how to explain the feeling I had when they offered me their food.
It goes far beyond what they meant.
Also, I'm a blood donor. I just had to put that in 4 times a year till age 60.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
O plus. They like my blood.
Wow.
Universal is the universal blood. O plus.
So you donated blood 4 times a year until you were 60?
60 cannot. They won't take anymore.
Wow, that's remarkable. That's
So-
amazing.
That's
4 times a year for say 30 years. I say about 120 lives.
Wow. With your blood. Big X and small X both.
Yeah. And then when you go to a hospital and you see anybody receiving blood, the feeling you get is something money can never buy. See, I'm proud of it. I normally don't tell people, but in my old age, I'm getting a bit like this, I'm proud that I was a blood donor. And then when I gave blood, I find my nephew and all started giving.
Oh. Auntie, I know this might sound like an abstract question, but
What?
to you, what do you think the meaning of life is?
Meaning of
Life.
life, to do as much good as you can while you are alive. And when I say good, doesn't mean big deeds. No, just small, tiny, everyday things. You can help a lot of people. Just if you see somebody carrying, like guys carrying a hippie, just help, right? An old person trying to cross, you go cross with them.
Do you believe in karma?
Hmm?
Do you believe in karma?
Yes, I do.
So if you do something good, then it comes.
That comes back to you.
Do you think that's why you've been so lucky all these years?
Yes. Okay, I'll give you one example. This is almost miraculous, right? Okay. I was walking, somebody counting his money. Money fell about a couple of hundred. He didn't realize. I was behind him. I ran after him. I gave him, and I walked on. Less than a half an hour later, I didn't know I dropped a couple of $100, and the people behind me ran up to me, picked it up, and gave it to me. Almost a miracle, right?
Yeah. It's like it was planned.
That's why I say I believe in karma.
So, thank you for all like the stories you have today. But is there one thing you'd like to say to the camera? Just like.
As I said, respect everybody, irrespective of race, religion, or technician. What is it? When they work different, some are higher, lower.
Hierarchy.
Yeah, a hierarchy. Respect animals and human beings, anything that lives, and even nature, the trees. Respect.
That's beautiful. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Any final notes of wisdom you'd like to impart?
As I said, respect.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
So
you so
good.
much.
Thank you so much, Auntie. That was amazing. Thank
One
you so
take
much.
wonder.